Welcome back. As the government continues to be shut down at this current moment after several failed votes in the Senate to reopen the government, Senator Tom Cotton speaking with us today to talk more about the shutdown itself and what he thinks needs to happen to get the government back up and running, as well as the impacts that Arkansans are already feeling. Right off the top of my head, the first thing that comes to mind, Arkansas is one of the most food insecure states in the nation. And Arkansas DHS put out a warning, if you will, last week saying that if the government doesn't open by November the 1st, people who use SNAP benefits, food stamps, essentially may not get those benefits for the month of November. We've already started to see a lot of food giveaways here in the state, also not only for people who are on SNAP, but also federal workers who aren't receiving pay right now. They're working without pay. People are trying to lend a helping hand in the state right now to get them back on their feet. And while this government continues to be shut down until we wait for it, of course, to be reopened. But Senator Tom Cotton talking to us about several different issues today surrounding the government shutdown, as well as a new bill that he introduced that he is passionate about. Check out this interview. Senator Tom Cotton joining us now. Senator, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me on, Caroline.
The government shutdown is entering, I believe it's 27th day now. Senator, we're at a gridlock right now. What is it going to take to get past that?
Well, unfortunately, the Democrats are bringing us to the point at the end of the month where more Arkansans are going to start feeling genuine hardship and pain. The Trump administration has done everything they can to try to minimize those hardships, but unfortunately, I think they're reaching the end of the rope when it comes to uncommitted funds available for things like paying our troops, as well as supporting the nearly 250,000 Arkansans who benefit from the food stamp program or for the Women, Infants, and Children's Nutrition Program. I was just speaking with a National Guardsman in Clarksville on Friday who said he was very happy he got paid the last paycheck, but is very worried about this next paycheck. So I hope this week, when we give the Democrats in the Senate another opportunity to vote with us to open the government, that enough of them come to their senses, that we can get the government open, and then we can start doing the people's business once again.
Talk to me a little bit about why we are at this gridlock right now. It seems to be a lot of the debate surrounding health care, the Affordable Care Act, tax credits right now. What's your stance on that?
Well, Caroline, I think that's largely a pretext that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have used. The Democrats created the Affordable Care Act, ironically, because it's proven unaffordable time and time again. The Democrats passed the Obamacare COVID bonuses 4 years ago and set them to expire at the end of this year because the pandemic had come to an end. They keep saying that they want to not only extend those fraud-laden tax credits indefinitely, but to provide more taxpayer-financed health care for illegal immigrants, to eliminate a rural hospital fund that puts $50 billion into hospitals like we have all across Arkansas. But I don't think those are the real issues, in part because we've offered them votes on all of those matters. I think at the end, this is Chuck Schumer and the Democrats angry at Donald Trump and angry at Trump supporters in states like ours for returning him to the White House and showing their far left base that they'll fight him, even if there's nothing really to fight over. Again, that's why I hope that as we've seen a few more Democrats voting with us recently to, for instance, pay all the workers who are on the job today, like our troops, like air traffic controllers, like federal law enforcement, that we have a few more join us this week and we can get back to doing the people's business.
When do we expect that next vote to happen?
It's to be determined. I think it might happen a little bit later this week, maybe on Wednesday or Thursday. Obviously, we're just getting back into town after being out for the weekend. We'll have conversations with some of the Democrats who have already voted with us to see what they've heard from their colleagues. I'm sure they're hearing from their constituents back home, like John Bozeman. I've heard from Arkansans all across the state that they really can't afford to miss any paychecks, much less another paycheck. Or I heard from teachers from Lamar, for instance, who are worried about their kids who depend on the food stamp program or the WIC program, or the school lunch program. That's happening in states with Democratic senators as well. And again, I hope enough of them will decide that they need to put an end to the Schumer shutdown, join us, open the government. We can debate anything the Democrats want at that point about health care or immigration or long-term funding, but we can't do that as long as the Democrats continue to keep the government shut down.
November 1st, Arkansas DHS put out an announcement saying if the government doesn't open and they don't get a certain amount of money, SNAP benefits for recipients here in Arkansas might be delayed, or they may not get them for the month of November. There are a lot of people in Arkansas who benefit from SNAP. Arkansas is one of the most food insecure states in the nation. What are you telling Arkansans right now who may not see those benefits come through?
Yeah, Caroline, I just heard from Arkansans on Friday that are concerned about needy families in their communities, as am I. I know John Bozeman is as well. There's some conversation in the Senate about offering smaller, more targeted bills. For instance, we offered one last week, as I mentioned, that would pay workers who are on the job right now. We might have one that would pay our troops specifically. But we also might bring up legislation that, for instance, would replenish funds in the food stamp program or replenish funds in the women, infants, and children's program, or pay our air traffic controllers. That's all under debate. Some of it will depend on whether Democrats will cooperate with us to provide the votes necessary. But we're very concerned about all of the hardships that this Schumer shutdown has imposed. The simplest way to address them all, of course, would be simply vote for the short-term spending bill and open the government back up.
Switching gears now, Senator, you recently introduced a new bill, Secure Commercial Driver License Act, preventing illegal immigrants from obtaining CDLs. Tell me a little bit about that, why you're passionate about it.
Caroline, there's been too many cases to include in Arkansas of law-abiding citizens being injured and tragically even killed in automobile accidents when the drivers were illegal aliens who didn't speak English. I think it's just common sense that most Arkansans would appreciate and agree with that if you're going to have a driver's license, especially if you're going to have a commercial driver's license, that you need to speak English. Road signs and electronic signage on our highways is always written in English. I think it's just plain common sense that any driver needs to be able to speak English. That's one good way to keep illegal aliens off of our roads.
All right, Senator Tom Cotton, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Caroline.
Have a great day. All righty.